All right. Good. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? This is Minsal Keevalon. I am the founder and tech lead of Universal Equations. Today we're going to talk about Elasticsearch. I figured that'd be a good topic for us to talk about. As always, where do we start? So Elasticsearch, I want to say that's been around since 2010. Created by a company that its name at the time was Elastic NV. I mean, now it's the company's just named Elastic, but yeah, I mean they've came a long way with the technology. They're, we get to talk about open source. The Elasticsearch open source with Elasticsearch technology. There has been a community version and Elasticsearch version up until I want to say there was an announcement in 2021 that the licensing would be changed. I mean, it used to be on an Apache license, and now it is on a Elastic license. So Elastic now, they've more or less taken ownership of it. Now, because of that, there has been kind of a fork of Elasticsearch called OpenSearch. Okay, so that's kind of the open source fork of Elasticsearch that again now is under the Elastic license, right? So Amazon Web Services, I think put a lot of muscle into that. But yeah, it is an open source project, the open source project. So that kind of gives you the landscape now on a little bit of where Elasticsearch is license-wise. Okay, so what is it? What is it used for? So you can probably guess it is a search engine. The ability to find data faster than you could if you were just manually looking for it. It is distributed. Which means when you talk about something that's distributed, you're generally talking about things like clusters. All right. So when you first start off with Elasticsearch, I mean, it's not a bad idea just to have a single node, but ultimately to get the most value out of it, you're going to want a cluster, and you're going to want to do a little math to figure out what size cluster will be best for your needs. Now, Elasticsearch has been, I guess, adopted by some other companies where you can kind of get, other than Amazon. Amazon has Elasticsearch instances as well. They've done very good, a very good job of providing. They're very good providers of Elasticsearch in their cloud. There's a couple other ones as well, and I guess this kind of gets into also what Elasticsearch is used for, because you have companies like Text and a company LOGZ, Logs.io. So that kind of gets into some of the stuff that Elasticsearch is used for in terms of log analytics. So both of these companies, I think they have free versions. You get I don't know, half a gigabyte of data a day, but the pricing for these two companies it's reasonable. It's reasonable. So how does Elasticsearch work? So it runs on Java. So anywhere Java 8 runs, you should be able to run an instance of Elasticsearch. I think that's a good thing, because you make sure you have your Java virtual machine installed, and version 8 or higher. I think the recommended release is 131, Java 8 131 for the, or at least the latest version of Elasticsearch. So you basically download it. I mean, if you want to go that right, there is a very good Docker version of Elasticsearch. Okay, from a Docker folks, you can do Docker, you can direct download and do it that way. It's like a tar, unzip the tar, and there's an Elasticsearch executable that you can run. You can, if you're running it on Linux, There is a Yum as well as an APT repo that you can configure so that you can download ElasticSearch to your system. So it's pretty easy to get up and running with ElasticSearch, and even the configuration. There's a configuration file, elasticsearch.yml. It's a YAML file. That's the main configuration file for ElasticSearch. So I mean, over the years, they've kind of streamlined the whole process of getting up and running with it, which I guess that kind of helps you understand its popularity, because it's not only very useful, it also helps you understand its popularity. I mean, generally things that you can get up and running easily with, a lot of times those things catch on. So what else about ElasticSearch? I mean, what's under the hood? I mean, it's built on top of a technology called Apache Lucene, which in and of itself, is a technology worth knowing. But if we went on that road, we'd be here. That'd be out of scope. So it's built on top of Apache Lucene. Those of you who are familiar with Apache Lucene, you know about indexes. So ElasticSearch itself also, you're dealing with indexes, right? So you send data to Elasticsearch. It is RESTful. It has an excellent API. You can send data to Elasticsearch via its API. All you really need to know is what index you're sending it to, right? And you can use post, you can use put. All you really need to know is what index you're sending it to, and you can send data of pretty much any structure. The structure doesn't have to be defined before you send the data. So even with that, I mean, it just makes it that much easier to get up and running with it. Obviously, there is a performance incentive if you do define the data types and etc. And they got dates, and they have all that stuff, numbers, text. They have different data types, and so you can define a bit of a schema specifically if you already know beforehand what the structure of the data is expected to be. You can do that, and it does help with performance. But theoretically, you don't need a structure for your data. Just a JSON document you can send, which is, I mean, that's just gives you a lot of flexibility with the technology. Like I said, it's an analytics and search engine. I'm trying to think what else you probably would want to know about it. But yeah, you send data to it. It creates what you call an inverted index, which I really don't have time to talk a whole bunch about, but I want to mention these things in case people do want to dig a little bit deeper for the technology. But overall, yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I can't think of any other technology off the top of my head that's anything like it in terms of log analytics and other things. Because then you get into the Elastic Stack, which used to be the ELK Stack, because ELK Stack, ELK, Elasticsearch, Logstash, Kibana used to be the ELK Stack, but now it's expanded. There's more technologies in that ecosystem. So what we used to call the ELK Stacks, now the Elastic Stack, you got a lot more stuff. And even if you're running in an open source version, you got things like XPack that provide some additional features to your Elasticsearch deployment. But it's amazing technology. Like I said, I mean, if you know anything about Java, anything about REST, whenever you get a free mode, and I think I would go to elastic.co, elastic.co, download it, get started with it. It's not that difficult. And use that Kibana dashboard to get visualizations of what you're seeing. Yeah, it's a fantastic technology. But I think I've said enough about that. Hopefully y'all can get started with it. I love to hear what you know how far you get. But I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.